Good Tuesday morning, everybody, particularly everybody in the United States of America. I want to make a comment. When you were little, hopefully you took economics, even if it was just base level economics, and you learned about something called America's Social Safety Net. Well, that consists of unemployment and such programs as Head Start, welfare, and other programs that designed to help you, particularly if you lost your job. If you didn't have employment coming from the private sector. We call it the social safety net because it was a recognition of the fact that the market that is supposed to ideologically provide all the jobs isn't always able to do so effectively. And so because of that, over time, these programs have been established by congressional vote. They've been established by elected officials. And it's the secret sauce that keeps the American standard of living high. Why? Because it allows you to, for a period, tap into them and go to where you have to use them while you're looking for a job, or in modern parlance, looking for an investor or some angel investor. Everybody needs help now and then. Everyone needs investors. The majority of companies that have been established in the United States of America were established because someone took a risk to put money into a business that was an idea. That has been the American dream. That has been the American process. The problem we have today is that President Trump has decided that he is going to destroy it. Now, there's no logical rhyme and reason for it. There was nothing wrong with our economy. Nothing. President Trump was handed, quote, the keys, unquote, to quite a healthy system that was performing well. Well enough, even though it wasn't a perfect design, to help people during something called the pandemic. And now he's intent on destroying it. And he's getting Elon Musk to do so, who is acting as if he was another elected official. Unless they're stopped, America's economy is going to be completely destroyed, not irreparably, because our society won't allow that. There are too many people who have been able to feed their kids, send them to school, help their neighborhoods, help nonprofit organizations provide services to people, help veterans. Yes, help veterans. Help the elderly who are dependent upon this system working at a time when many of our jobs have been allowed to go overseas and we've done nothing about it. So I'm giving you a cold water bath. Wake up. These are ideologues. Ideologues are people who have ideas about how things work, which most of the time are completely divorced from reality. Historically, we never wanted people who had those point of views, regardless of where they came from, to run the country, because we knew that they didn't really understand how the country worked. They didn't appreciate it. Now, one could say that such a view is un-American, and they would be correct, because it is. You have a place now where there are people who are literally trying to destroy this country. And it's not to ask why, it's simply to not let them. Anytime you know that something is happening, anytime that you know something is wrong, it's time to stop it. Call your congressman. Call your congressperson. Show up at the town halls. If they don't have town halls, put it on social media and say they should have them. And simply use your voice. Make a video like I'm doing. Add to my voice. Because the secret sauce that created the standard for the world is going to be destroyed, and it's already happening. It's already happening. It's already happening. And the people who believe that he's trying to do the right thing, ask yourself this question. If he says he's saving money for the American taxpayer, well, don't you think that he should be interested, talking about Elon Musk, in making sure the American taxpayer has a job, as opposed to throwing out that American taxpayer from the employment they have with the federal government just because? That's not creating efficiency. That's not destroying waste, fraud, and abuse at all. And by the way, if you're not seeing this, I'm on a, as you know, I'm on a YouTube channel, but it's a live stream with feedback, and so I have a commenter here who says something that the idea is that the tariffs will force companies to operate inside the America. Now, actually, no, it won't. And I'm glad you brought that up. And I want you to read a book by an author who is a friend of mine named Chalmers Johnson. It's called Miti and the Japanese Miracle. Copyright 1979. Why? Because the Japanese keiretsu structure showed the world, after Japan got a significant portion of American market share through the 70s, 80s, and 90s. Now everything's different because everyone owns each other. But that's what they did, because the Japanese were not afraid to subsidize companies. Wasn't not through tariffs, but subsidize those companies so that they could produce products at below production cost. You hear what I'm saying? Below production cost. Wasn't a tariff. What happens with a tariff in this instance is that we end up paying the freight. Why? Very simple, my friend. Because many American companies in those countries that are paying the tariffs or having the tariffs exacted upon them, or even if they're made in America, a significant proportion of that product has foreign parts, and so the problem continues. Again, so the problem continues. And you want the greatest example of what I'm talking about today? I'll give you one, my friend. The American defense industry. That's right. When I started looking at American defense industry spending with respect to economic development back in 1988, what I discovered, that was 1984, when I was at Texas Arlington. What I discovered was that then 88%, there's the 88, right? 88% of the defense money we spent stayed in the community of the program it benefited from, okay? All right? And so that's been destroyed. I was on CNN talking about this in 2007 on what was called the Paula Zahn Show, but Roland Martin took it over. And it's actually on my YouTube channel. You type CNN New York Zenny, and Zenny 62 here, right? You'll see it. Cut to the chase. I said then that today, about 50% of our defense dollar, if not more, is spent overseas. Why? Because we don't have the manufacturing concerns we used to have, because we don't subsidize them. That's why. But all of our competitor nations do subsidize their businesses, particularly those that are export businesses. Okay? Donald Trump got a hold of a tariff idea. He didn't think about it at all and started advancing it. It's not how the economy works. To put things in even better perspective, I tried to get on The Apprentice many years ago, 2006. I didn't. I'm not making this, to sing a song, but my point is I admired that Donald Trump. That Donald Trump I was under the illusion that he was interested in small business, because that was what The Apprentice was about. But when he came downstairs on the day that he announced he was running for president of the United States and he went into all the race stuff, that idea was completely destroyed, okay? And I've said this before, and I say it again, and I'll say it before, and I'll say it again. I'll simply say this, that we have no business going down a path that pits us against each other. It's not healthy, and it's not good for the country, and you're seeing the results of it right now because they're ideologues pushing us in that direction. Why? They believe that to divide us is to control us. But did you ask to be divided by anybody? Okay? Not at all, all right? And I think the gentleman here is saying we American companies try to operate in other countries. Those countries force American companies to partner with their native companies. Actually, it's even more complicated than that. It's called import replacing. From that country's perspective, right? They allow us in, but then they take our designs of production, they copy them for their own. That has been the gigantic process by which, in particular, Airbus Industries was built by the European Union, and prior to that also, the Japanese aviation industry and the Japanese defense supply industry. Yeah, I said supply because Japan had been for decades prohibited from spending more than 1% of its GDP on defense. That goes all the way back to World War II. Okay, right. But my point is but here, Christopher, is where it's more complicated. Now the ownerships, all right, are cross seas. And guess who winds up paying for it? We do. Okay? So now you agree that American products that are here that are made, guess what? They have their components, and so the tariffs don't work. You just agreed with me. The tariffs don't work. All right? This is just basic economic processes, system dynamics that anybody can understand if you put your mind to it. And the trouble is we're being bamboozled by people at the top. We're being bamboozled because they want to keep power. All right? But if you want to save your business and my business, then we together need to work together and just simply call Congress, which you can do so from the comfort of your home or email. Every little bit of effort works to let these folks know that they're making a gigantic mistake and they've got to stop it because we're all being hurt by it already. It's not a matter of will. It's already happening. Did you see the stock market yesterday? You want more of that? You want to turn around if you're a federal government employee and then all of a sudden you're getting a reduction in force memo? Those aren't cool. All right? Oh, and hey, suppose you voted for President Trump. You're not going to be very happy. You know it because a lot of you already are not. This entire process is not necessary. If Donald Trump wants to help the American economy, he needs to subsidize businesses here and then say, hey, look, if you use these subsidies to go overseas, we will prosecute you. That's how you do it. But you don't do it by tariffs, by hurting your own people. It's not a good idea. Okay? All right? And if you want people to stay here, you subsidize them. You give money to them. Now, are you saying, hey, isn't that kind of an entitlement program? No, it's not. It's a safety net. And everybody in the world does it. Get religion, folks. We're already globalists. And all the other globalists, what are they doing? They're protecting at home. You have to. All right, subscribe to Xenia62. And hey, thank you for the feedback, Christopher. I really appreciate it. And remember, there's more than just buy American. It's make sure your American government takes care of the American economy. Larry Kudlow has no idea what he's talking about. And Larry, I would love to be on your show to challenge you. Because what you're saying is not the way Americans have experienced economic operation. It doesn't hold up in textbooks. It's not a good idea to put it on television, and yet you have a platform. Nothing against you because you wear nice suits. But my point is that it's not the way America and the world works. All right, thank you for your time. And subscribe to Zenny62 on YouTube. And bookmark ZennyReport.com. Oh, and yeah, you say it's more like a bailout? Well, you're right. And there's nothing wrong with that either. See ya. Remember, you got to keep your country going.